The corridors of Max Hospital's ICU were filled with a tense silence, broken only by the soft murmurs of worried relatives and the occasional cry of a young child. Anushree, her face pale and eyes red-rimmed, sat on a hard plastic chair, her hands tightly clasping a handkerchief. Her 2 daughters were nearby. The elder one, still in her Delhi public school uniform, clung to her mother, while the younger one, oblivious to the gravity of the situation, played with a small toy on the floor. Deepak Hasarika, a man admired and envied by many, had reached the pinnacle of his career at a young age. As the editor-in-chief of a reputed newspaper group, his rise had been meteoric. Friends and family often marveled at his accomplishments, yet few knew the turmoil that lay beneath his composed exterior. Deepak was known for his daring journalistic pursuits and his keen sense of right and wrong. However, the demands of his position had recently taken a toll on him. Anushree spoke in a low, shaky voice to the relatives who had gathered to console her. Deepak was upset for some time. The management asked him to give sacking orders to many of his colleagues. He hated doing that. He wanted to meet the CMD to discuss it. I think he managed to meet her, but I don't know what happened. Her voice trailed off as she began to cry. The tension in the corridor was palpable as everyone waited for news. Then, the door to the ICU opened, and a doctor emerged, his expression serious. Deepak's friends and relatives rushed to him, forming a tight circle around the white-coated figure. Anushree stood up, her heart pounding. "Doctor, how is he?" she asked, her voice trembling. The doctor took a deep breath before responding. "Mrs. Hasarika, we did everything we could. Unfortunately, the damage was too severe. I'm very sorry." The words hit Anushree like a physical blow. She staggered and her friends caught her before she could fall. Her elder daughter looked up at her, eyes wide with confusion and fear. The younger one continued to play, blissfully unaware of the tragedy that had befallen their family. As the reality of the situation sank in, the corridor filled with the sounds of grief, sobs, wails, and words of comfort that seemed inadequate. Anushree clung to her daughters, her mind reeling with the loss of her husband and the uncertainty of the future. Deepak Hasarika's story was one of brilliance and tragedy, a stark reminder of the pressures and challenges faced by those at the top. His legacy would live on in the stories he had shaped and the people he had touched. But for his family, the road ahead was now filled with an overwhelming sense of loss and an uncertain future.